Okay, little vlog diary. We had an email from Nectar saying that we got 10,000 points or something, and that's 50 quid. So we wanted to buy a hand juicer because we're not having our orange juice because it hurts our wrists and our hands to squeeze it all the time. But we not bought one because we're attempting to minimise spending, and that's not on a priority. We have strange priorities between us. Anyway, we're also kind of watching Cindy from Awakening from Spirit on Runeraker, Cracking Open the Meaning of These Runes. And just in the words that she said, she's got Gregory Scott, who we watch, who's, he was from Glastonbury and Bristol. He's South African, but now he's in Sweden or Austria or something. Austria, I think. And she's got his tarot cards, so I think that's awesome. So, I don't know, then we were led to type in Shintosai because we're learning social media and we don't still really understand it. Oh, look at those light codes. And we don't fully understand it, but we are getting better. And we just posted a picture, the very first picture on our Instagram page again, and then put captions on it because we're learning how to do it all. And then it said share to Facebook, so we shared it to Facebook, but we don't use that Facebook page much anymore. But it's like got the most people looking at it ever, but that's only because it's us in a bikini. But it's like 11 years old, but that's the type of body that we will have again because we're going to get a really good body, but it's going to be better than then because it's not going to have any physical pain or our back preluding discs in the back. So anyway, it's got hashtag Shintosai on it. So we thought, well, what happens if people type in hashtag Shintosai? Now, we've seen these 3 videos that we've got here before, but we thought we would scroll down and look at these. So the first one's Facebook. Oh, look, you can see us. That's not so good. And it's Bruce Lipton. The beginning is now. It's really cool. If this is the one I think it is, it might not be. It has him in a boat. So...
If you look around at the world today, you say, oh my God, this looks like hell on earth. We didn't come from hell on earth. We came from the proverbial Garden of Eden. A garden is the highest level of cooperation of organisms. And then look what we've done here. Look at this world that we end up with today. Look around. We are in hell right now. This ability. Humans can live in any environment on this planet. How come? And the answer is because...
So that's really good because we love him, and the grass seeds in the garden have just started growing, and we did a video, one of us just did a video for our Neve Deb Snowflake channel on that one, and we recently did a video on the electromagnetic fields and interpreting our internal understanding our internal environment by interpreting our external environment, which is kind of like using concepts from Feng Shui and other things, but not. It's our concepts that we've picked up with little bits from here and there and there, and put it all together in a way that most wouldn't, because that's our uniqueness. And we understand that because of our autism assessment that we had, and we learn about ourself from what other people say, and we know we're really strongly connected to energy from what other people have said. And so, yeah, it's all coming together. And today we've got the massive World Summit thing with Tony Robbins, like the leader in like self-education and, I don't know, life coaching, all that stuff. We're not so into it all the way they do it. And we used to get triggered by it massively, but that's why it's really good to kind of do it all, because it triggers us and tells us then how we need to grow. So that's a really good one to kind of come up. And then he's got our Twitter. You don't blog in here, Werb. You don't blog. Oi, hey, tapai. Thank you, mister. And so then it goes to our Twitter account, which we've kind of changed it to Shintosai now. And they always say body, mind, soul, but the most important is the heart. If you go to HeartMath, the heart's got much bigger electromagnetic field than the brain and everyone else, and it's got neurons like the brain and everything. See, we know so much, we can't get it all out because we get in all these different alters and we ain't got language yet and stuff, but we get in it and we will have it, and it's going to be amazing when we do. And so, yeah, and this one's got here, God may be in the details, but the goddess is in the questions, because we look for answers, but it's not about the answers, it's about the questions. But then it gets even more precise, and it's about what questions we ask and how we ask those questions and what words. And then we get answers, and it's nowhere near answers that we were looking for before. And yeah, there is no turning back once we ask them. But we've been on this journey for a very long time, consciously so, since we were 18. So that's like 23 years. But we've been, all of us are really self-aware, because that's just, we've been growing up like that. And then the next one's YouTube, which takes us on to here, which is our page, and that's the one we were just talking about, the video we just posted. And it's got like, Earth, awaken, dear friends, within this dream, and realise that it is your duty and responsibility as human beings to imagine and visualise a safe world. It will be as you decree, and your own... Oh yeah, it stops there. Because... it's a free 18,000 people. It's the biggest online virtual world summit thing. All got screens. It's on Zoom. They spent millions or something. And we do these courses, but we just show up for them to start with, because even that's really hard sometimes. But we know that we'll go back and revisit them, because we started the YouTube challenge back at the start of the year, and we're revisiting that now because we want a ticket to their VIP event, which is in a week and a half. And we're ending a massive cycle going into another, so we're still flipping between the two, but it's all coming together and it happened. It still may be another, year or two, but that's okay, because it's already been 5 since the seizures. It's already been like 1.5 since the psych ward, and it's been 23 since we overdosed when we were 18, and we've been on this journey a long time. So we perceived as very slow, but we're not. We're really quick. There's just a lot of us in this one body, and we got a lot of us to get through and teach, and it's hard work. So the next one is with the website beautynailhairsalons.com, and I don't think I've done this, but it's got our stuff on it, so it's really confusing. So there's a whole blurb down here, because we keep writing different blurbs at different times on different social medias, and we got to go back and look through them all and check them. And it's got, look amazing, feel amazing, be amazing. I mean, that's stuff that we wrote down on our Shinto self-empowerment page when it got started in 2012. So I mean, this has been going on since then. And then the women within, because we're the 0.02 to 2% of the population, and we know what it feels like to be excluded, and we're super smart, and so therefore we can produce courses that include anyone and everyone if they so choose to join in. Not everyone will want to receive it. So it's looking amazing by being and feeling amazing from the inside out rather than the outside in, which is what current society and yoga and lots of things focus on. Want to have more energy, feel less tired and be in better health, want to shed a few pounds, tone up and have amazing skin, want to live your fullest potential in body, mind and spirit, holistic self-development for all. This page has come out of my own experiences and opinions. I hope you all find something that resonates with you on your own journey. There are 7 billion people on the earth. There should be 7 billion religions. Buddha or Dalai Lama, I can't remember who. And then it's got my journey, but we're not going to read all that. So I don't know who this Beauty Hair and Nails is. And then it's got the autism one. Your autistic child can have a great life. Here's how, in a TED talk. And I'm not sure if we've written this. Speaks a lot of sense related to much of what she says being an autistic adult. Autism is a differently wired brain, a more intelligent brain if you ask some of us. It just depends on the individual environment, the nurturing and more to how the autism is expressed in said individual, just like any child and adult. What we have experienced with autism is that there is an extreme sensitivity to energies and people's inner worlds. If the people around the child with autism project themselves out into the world a lot and lack self-awareness and want to lift the veil of their denials, this energy will be picked up on by the child, and if it gets too much for the child, they will start cutting themselves off from the collective reality, and so eventually becoming more and more locked in. As the child grows, this is the network pattern, habits there get embedded, still can be reprogrammed, but becomes harder. And when people have got locked in, the reprogramming doesn't come from words and stuff, it comes from pure sound and frequency, and has to come from the person that's doing it, has to be very connected and balanced in themselves, which is what we're aiming to do. I can already feel us shifting reading this. I think we have written this. From our understanding, it's the same as any situation with any person. If there is something in the collective reality that is making one angry, uncomfortable, etc., then it's a reflection of some sort of chaos internally making one react. We become more aware and want to align ourselves with our heart and others, and so want to grow. Then we can ask ourselves those deep questions, take responsibility and accountability for ourselves, and choose to be compassionate, patience, I think that's patient, so yeah, it's definitely us that's written this, patient and gentle with oneself, while we change our subconscious reactive programming into emotionally mature adult responsive programming. Then we attract this to us. It starts by giving oneself what we want to receive. If we are judgmental to things in the external world, i.e., are you judging what you are reading now? Or are you questioning it and attempting to see, feel, experience, comprehend where the author is coming from with their experience, perspective from, and ability to express in words? You can definitely say it's us, because we find it so hard to express in words. We're getting emotional now. Collective reality. So hold on, that was brackets, and we do that a lot. So judgmental of things in the external world, collective reality, then it's a sign we are judgmental to ourselves. And if that is so, there is no compassion for self, and so can't be for another. When we learn to be self-aware and self-questioning, balancing and aligning our inner worlds, and so outer and inner worlds align, and we pull towards us. It's the way the electromagnetic energy dances quantum physics. Effortless effort, flow, ease. The life our heart and spirit, soul truly desires, and when what collective society currently call miracles happen. These miracles, again, are just the way the energy dances at a quantum level. So yeah, we've written that, and it's got other videos of us and stuff down here. And then, so what's this one? That's a music picture we've put up on one of our pages. He who knows the secret of sound knows the mystery of the whole universe. Hazrat Enyat Khan. Tatetomaino Taitopo. And there's our younger ones, and I think they're saying that they know the secret to the sound. And they understand that. And that we're learning we're learning language and words and growing ourselves up, which is already working massively. Because we have been judged and criticised our whole life and excluded from so much because people don't understand us. And so we've learnt to hide ourselves from a very young age. And personality, if it develops about 6 years old, we never developed one personality. So we've developed lots of personalities, and they're all us. But they're split, and they split the body, and we're putting it all back together again on a deep quantum level of energetics first, and then into the physical. So let's just read this one because we love Nassim Haramein. And this was done on July. Nassim Haramein en français, conférencier à Bruxelles, 25 juin 2015. God knows if that's correct. We've got a book that we want to read in French. I wonder when that will start. Our listening material through the night. Our fave, Nassim. And before we went into the psych ward, when we came out the psych ward, we found a check. Nassim can help. He'll understand. We feel so connected to Nassim Haramein. Oh God, like so many others as well. And B.K.S. Iyengar, when we read his book, we just related to what he was saying at the start so much. And he was so disappointed because when he wanted to bring the spiritual aspects of yoga into the Western world, but the Western world wasn't ready for it. And so his yoga now has got so masculine and so system and routine and rigid that I swear he'd be really disappointed. But I reckon his son is more feminine and his daughter is more masculine, Geeta, and she passed over. Would love to go and meet him in Pune, actually. Our listening material through the night, our fave, Nassim, spreading the most important message of who we are as human beings and the quantum sciences. This is our writing again. Sometimes we can write really well. We write a lot better than we speak. Yeah, that's you guys, isn't it? Newtonian physics being a small part of the tangible, physical, objective seen world on the quantum spectrum of the subjective, non-tangible, unseen world of which the physical stems from. We listen, watch and read heaps of his stuff, and what he has to say has been immense support to us on our balancing, aligning, healing journey. We speak a bit of French and spent a lot of time there as a child, so listening to what he has to say in other languages is amazing for firing, wiring and connecting neurological pathways as the conscious mind switches off when it gets tired of attempting to listen in detail and translate. Hence why when asleep, the conscious mind is naturally, hopefully resting, and so these deeper subconscious neurons can be embraced, so rewriting our past, unserving programming. All from the beautiful power of the subconscious as to not overwhelm, stress and so short-circuit the conscious awareness where parts aren't ready physically yet to do this process. Subconscious knows when it will be and will allow the conscious awareness to be connected when upgraded. It's a whole new way of healing and learning that we ourselves are still unfamiliar with and coming to terms with and getting better weekly. And getting better weekly as surrendering more and more to this process. So yeah, because we've watched so much of his stuff and generally know a lot of what he says in English words and quantum, not that we always understand it, he's speaking French, but it'll be saying the same context, just in a different language. So it'll be accessing different aspects of self and different aspects of the brain, but the fundamental frequencies, taking away the words, will be the same because their intention and the hearts behind it. So before we read the last, so basically then there's these comments here. So I don't know, beautynailhairsalons.com. Oh, I suppose what we could do, should we do this now? Because we haven't done this. If we delete all this, will this take us to the website? Of whose website it is? Find local salons. Well, that's just really weird, isn't it? We're not a salon. Yeah, so we don't quite understand. But I'm sure we will, because we've been brought across this now. And it says, comments, please also like my page, My Recycled Creations by Anna. This looks like a worthwhile page, thank you. Smiley face. And then Nymphy, this was very powerful to read. I can't imagine what you are going through right now. You're so strong. I'm trying my hardest to get some funds together to come to Europe and see you. It's beautiful that you take something that could be perceived as a negative and make a thought-provoking and moving piece of writing out of it. Just that in itself is putting more and more love back into this world at a time when it needs it most. Thank you for being a light bearer. I love you, Cuzzy. Stay strong. We do have a cousin in Australia called Anna, but I don't think these two are related. That probably all sounds like Jeremy. Not Jeremy, he's Gemma now. That probably sounds more like Gemma. But we don't know because it doesn't say who it's from. It says claim ownership. Who we are. We are one of the most amazing bioorganic computers. What's your biggest dream? See, that needs to have quantum in it. But that's something we added as the more we've understood it. What's your biggest fear? What sparks your passion? We have chosen to take responsibility and accountability for our life. Stirring up loads of emotions. I think it's because we're just, it's all coming together. And it's still scary, but it's not so scary that it makes us dissociate, because you see, we just hate being seen and heard. And then we learnt to be seen and heard, and then we got more rejected and more abandoned, and did too much for us. And we weren't giving up, and we never gave up, but then the body autonomic nervous system gave up, because they say before we went in the psych ward that it was substance abuse or lack of sleep, but it wasn't substance abuse, because we were smoking a lot less weed. We weren't able to do anything. We weren't able to drink. We weren't able to eat or swallow. We had a dorsal vagus nerve collapse thingy, and our body gave up. Because humans need love from the other humans, and if they don't get love from the other humans, they need to love themselves. But how can they love themselves when they've never been shown actions that they're lovable? They've only been shown actions that they're lovable if they do sexual favours in exchange, or other favours in exchange. But the psych ward made us remember that we've built our own 3.5 van and lived in it, and we've done intense jungle treks where if something happens, you're not getting helicoptered out, and if you're halfway in, you've got a 3-day trek to get out. We've cycled John O'Groats to Land's End with a healing broken collarbone. We've travelled half the world on our own. We're amazing. And now this is the biggest thing that we're navigating. We were going to be an accountant, but instead of doing that, we did our Iyengar yoga teacher training course twice. Still to fail their way, but we didn't have all our diagnoses then. We did our best to explain it to them, but they weren't accepting of it, and they dealt with it really terribly, actually. But we passed the bit that no one expected us to pass, because everyone said how good a teacher we were, and even we didn't expect to pass it, but it was the one that mattered to us, and we passed our personal practice. And since then, that was end of 2015, October, and then we did our ayahuasca journey, which gave us the understanding. We were like, the morning after, we were finally able to say we're finally able to admit defeat, and the lady said, "Do you think that's surrender?" And we surrendered. We realised we were killing ourselves and we couldn't keep going, and we were in so much physical pain, but we'd just keep switching altars and disconnecting more of the body and going to a different altar. But we were literally, we had worn all of them out, and each altar represents a circuit and a network in the body, and so that meant we'd worn that area of the body out. And it was severe, and it was getting serious. And that's what it says in our mental health letter, the last one, which we'll read out because that is actually positive. He says it's not the severity of her situation, it's more that what she's asked for help with, we can't offer. And that if anyone is smart enough and able to keep up with her quick trail of thought and speech, then they would be able to understand where she's at and how she uses a combination of scientific and esoteric tools to help herself. So we have chosen to take responsibility and accountability for our life, especially since they locked me up. So this is going to have emotion attached still in it, because this obviously happened after the psych ward. And we haven't come back to this to change it. So the brackets, especially since they locked me up under Section 2 in the psych ward start of February for 2 weeks. So I got to spend my 40th B day there. But we are too smart for you all and got ourselves out due to this beautiful mind of ours. Close brackets. So we're deciding to take responsibility and accountability for our life, and I'm currently sharing host body Neve and her many alternate personalities with authenticity, transparency, integrity, unconditional self-love, respect, compassion and forgiveness, with 2 parts gratitude and 1 part love, dedicated to everyone's highest good. And that's since we became Reiki attuned 1, 2 and 3 and masters, which was around 2013 and 14. Everything we've ever done is always in everyone's highest good. Even before then it is as well, but this time it was consciously. Situations will happen, but we do it because we know we can handle more pain than others, and that we're an empath and not just super hypersensitive, but we absorb other people's energies. And we've just came to the connections and clarity, our snowflake. So our legal name now is the Noni Snowflake Purcell. We've taken on our mother's maiden name to cut ourselves off from the frequencies of our paternal lineage, because that's got the Catholic Church and sexual abuse in it, which we're clearing. On our stepmom's side, we've got Hitler and the Jews, and we've been to Auschwitz as well, so we've actually been there in the physical presence too. We've been to New Zealand and we've been told by someone else who put his hands on our head when we were having a convulsing fit in a sound meditation that we were clearing stuff for the Maoris grieving for their lost homeland. And then we've got the Native American Indians, and that's where our name Snowflake came from. We were given when we were 2. So we're Cleve, and we're a Celtic Bitzer, so we were born in Wales. We moved to Cornwall when we were 1, and we're half Irish, half English, and we've been to Brittany heaps on holiday when we were younger. So we're clearing so many aspects of the globe and tribal things because that's where our heart lies, in with nature and Mother Gaia and inclusion of everyone, which means waking up to everyone waking up to their own denials and their self. And that's why everyone left us, because we were subconsciously putting a mirror up to people of their own denials, and people don't want to be woken up to their own denials. And so therefore we suffered more because of that. Authenticity, transparency, integrity, unconditional self-love, respect, compassion and forgiveness, with 2 parts gratitude and 1 part love, dedicated to everyone's highest good. And then there's an open brackets, as we are in our permanent state of meditations. Because when one meditates and does yoga, and this needs to be made more aware of people, it really needs to be made more aware to therapists and anyone in authoritative figures that are going to be dealing with vulnerable people, or people that may not come across vulnerable, they may come across the opposite of vulnerable, but they've had past traumas happen, and therefore they kind of walk the big talk, and they've got this massive protection shield around them. To understand it more, and that's one of the things that we aim to do. And we know, I think that's why some of us have done this live reality healing thing, because we can't structure it how everyone's meant to structure it in society at the moment, or how everyone wants it. But it doesn't mean that what we have to say or what we've experienced isn't worthwhile for others listening to and reading. As we are in our permanent state of meditation, being present with our here and now, which ironically means living in our past, until we heal, clear, transform, upgrade the past psychosomatic frequencies of trauma left in the body. As we navigate our way through healing all our bodies of society's so-called labels of DID, extreme end of PTSD, CPTSD, a genius coping mechanism of early childhood trauma, processing language disorder, rare type of dyslexia, other mental labels, Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, fibromyalgia, POTS, CFS, protruding discs and back, head injury, twisted on all 3 planes of the sacrum, jaw operation, toe knuckle removed, torn hamstring, collarbone displacement. All these are significant physical injuries because EDS doesn't heal properly. So when you don't heal properly, you lose all kind of connection in that area. All on our left-hand side of the very important 1/2 of the vagus nerve, the rest and digest. We've got the R and R there, but it's meant to be rest and digest, which is so desperately needed to function properly if one suffers from an overactive fight, flight or freeze response. Right vagus nerve. With our uniquely autistic wired brain, using our individual ways of processing, using our individual varied meditations, sharing all of us so that others can be inspired to live their full potential and realise being human is imperfection, and that spirituality is living your own experience rather than getting stuck in the theory or religion or society and attempting to live someone else's experience, as this will always lead you to a solid brick wall. So that eventually we can become completely self-sufficient again, fully healed and off benefits. But we've been spent so long attempting to get off benefits because being on benefits meant we're a victim. And if we're a victim, we're in victim consciousness. And how are we going to get out of victim consciousness? And so, I don't know, so a lot of our altars do very interesting things to show stuff, but we've learned to understand and settle into the fact that we need to rest. And it's happening, it's working. And there's no blame to anyone. If you're in physical form and coming from a physical form perspective in the human body, yes, there's still a lot of emotion, there's still a lot of pain, there's still a lot of hurt. And there's still a lot of anger because we feel we've put in so much effort and the others have put in so little effort, but that's just because of who we are and our awareness and our uniqueness and our modern day genius child adult genius, female genius, because it makes so different to female to a male. Even the presentation of autism, my journey, and this is old too. This will need updating. I don't know how old this is, but I'm sure we'll be able to figure it out soon. I have been involved in natural health research for the past 5 years. It all began summer 2008, so 5 years plus 2008, 2013. So this is 8 years ago. Of course it is, because it's the 8-8 portal that's just been, so we're in the 8 vibration. It's interesting, some of the tarot readers have just been saying how it's no special a day just because it's the 8-8 portal or just because it's this or that. Whereas we know different from our experiences. It's like, yes, every day you can set intention and set whatever. Thank you. And it's good to do that. But it's better... I'm not sure we've been interrupted. So every day, yes, is a day to set intentions and be away and always do your best. But there are some days where the energies align to those specific frequencies that makes it a lot easier. So you can do one thing one day and not succeed, and it feels like you're banging your head against a brick wall. And you do something another day and you can actually walk through that brick wall because the energies are aligned. And that's a very... a metaphor, an analogy which might not be but basically if you dance, it's like swimming with the current. You can either swim with the current and go where the current's going, and that's really easy, or you can swim against the current and that's really hard, or you can be really smart and get just the right angle so that you swim with the current but at an angle so the current doesn't take you away and you end up where you want to go without exerting much energy. So this will need to be updated soon, won't it? So that's 13, that's fascinating, because that's 2013 and today's Friday the 13th, which is so lucky. But society and all the occult, it's all been made out to be bad and this, that, the other, and really it holds the deepest truths of multiversal laws and the laws of nature. The past just kept it away, but now it's coming up to the surface. So, I have been involved in natural health research for the past 5 years. It all began summer 2008. Are you liking it? Are you liking it? How this is all just really good. This is like real, true life stuff for us, too. We're really excited. It's like a mystery puzzle unfolding itself. I know. You are really excited, aren't you? And I'm not sure which there's alters in us that have planned all this out. I know we're not connected to them yet. They're still too advanced, aren't they? Up in the unphysical energetics in the mind, and they can't connect with your younger ones, can they? You've got to grow up more, haven't you? More so that the spectrum aligns and is on a spectrum of resonance, isn't it? Yeah, but we're getting there. We're doing our best. Yeah, you are, and there's no rush, my lovelies. You do it in your own time and keep having fun, okay? It's because this is the fun shadow dance of life, okay? Yeah. You're upset, aren't you? Yeah, I am. We not. I know, I can feel. It's a very different feeling, me being upset, the conscious eyes that are functioning in this moment, to you guys being upset. And people use the subconscious and the unconscious as the same thing, but it's not the same thing. It's very different. We're not going to go into attempting to explain it now, because I don't think we'll be able to, and I think it will use up too much energy. Should we read the rest of this and then go? Yeah. Okay. It's reminded us of when our mum's photo fell down and it had a picture of the ship in the back. That's all caught live on camera too. We've got a lot to learn, haven't we? Got to learn how to edit, and then we've got a lot of material to go back from, haven't we? Yeah. It overwhelms you, doesn't it? Yeah, it does, if I'm honest. But what have we taught all of us? We don't need to be overwhelmed, because we just keep meditating and doing our Shintosai, our version of meditation, our version of breath work, and our version of yoga, and all of it. And it just happens. We surrender, we let the body lead, and it just happens. And then the mind catches up later, and this is a prime example of that, isn't it? Yeah. You got to fucking laugh and cry and everything all at once. Because it is just weird shit. But we've been through so much weird shit that we're not even able to word or vocalise yet. But we listen to the stuff that other people word and vocalise and read it. And it's like we've been through so much more than them, and it's not about a power game or oh yeah we've been through more. It's not about that. It just that's what wakes us up to the fact of like oh my god, and the realizations come in. Oh, okay. Should we try again? We need to swallow, don't we? Should we drink? Okay, let's try opening our groins again. More free-flowing. I'm sorry it's not much to look at, but we'll get better at giving you something to look at in the future. We'll do that B-roll stuff where you put stuff on top of the other. I have been involved in natural health research for the past 5 years. It all began, so I suppose if you add 8 onto that 5, you got 13 again. It all began in summer 2008. But we wrote this in 2013, which was 8 years ago. 13. Stop sidetracking. Read, please. Okay, sorry. I have been involved in natural health research for the past 5 years. It all began summer 2008 during a cycling trip from John O'Groats to Land's End. I noticed for the first time the effect false sugars, chocolate, sweets, etc. had on my moods, which then had a noticeable impact on my endurance. This was one of the toughest things I'd attempted in my life so far. It was physically, especially as I had broken my collarbone 2 months previously. Mentally and emotionally exhausting. It was nothing compared to this. Oh. Something massive is happening. We don't really know what. I can't describe it, but I think lots of us are connected inside or something. Should we stop? No, we want to finish. Yeah, but we've got to all be in agreement. Okay, we're swapping. We're sorted. Taito panano. Taito paitai toto. We're just going to do a bit of sounding to centre ourselves again. So we're going to focus on this. So we've just done a bit of trauma releasing for our sounding that we do. You can see how much it's brought our voice back and our tone back. Oh God, I wish I could just share everything that we've learnt so far with the sounding and the body and maths and graphs and art but it's all inside of us. It's all stuff we've done inside. But we've sorted out Jane 108's books, and Jane 108's like Nassim Haramein, but he does mathematics and art for kids, whereas Nassim Haramein's more of like the adult super consciousness of like quantum sciences to reach the world on other things. But they're both amazing. So we're bringing oh, wouldn't it be amazing to meet all these people? We don't put these people on pedestals anymore. We understand. Right, let's try this again, shall we? My journey. I have been involved. So this is Neve Deborah Coleman writing this back in 2013. And now we are legally changed our name and we're Snannoni Snowflake Purcell. Okay, I have been involved in natural health research for the past 5 years. It all began summer 2008 during a cycling trip from John O'Groats to Land's End. I noticed for the first time the effect false sugars, chocolate, sweets, etc. had on my moods, which then had a noticeable impact on my endurance. This was one of the toughest things I'd attempted in my life so far. It was physically, especially as I'd broken my collarbone 2 months previous, mentally and emotionally exhausting. When I ate chocolate or sweets, etc., my moods were more extreme and the imbalance was too much to keep my willpower going. So I experimented and stopped eating them and substituted with dried fruits and nuts, etc., the more natural way. My life has been a bit of a roller coaster, like many, and from a young age my aim was to be happy. My exercise and diet habits followed this roller coaster too, depending on my emotional state. I lost my mum to suicide at the age of 4, and there were a few other family traumas at a young age, massive family traumas. At the ages of 0 to 7, I believe from the material I've read and from being aware of my own behaviour patterns, are the most important years of our childhood. They are the years in which we build our subconscious patterns and habits and develop how we really feel about ourselves deep inside. Since the age of 18, when I very luckily survived an excessive overdose, the best thing that happened to me to catalyse that change in my thinking, that was 25 aspirin and 25 paracetamol. Apparently it's really not good mixing the two. The best thing that happened to me to catalyse that change in my thinking, this was my mission. I can tell you now it has for sure been a challenge, but the way I perceive things now, our experiences mentally, physically and emotionally, if we are determined enough to come out the other side, round who we are into strong, empathic, grateful, caring human beings. We become stronger, wiser, happier, and our availability to share, support and resonate with others to aid them on their journey is more diverse. Variety is the spice of life. So yeah, our gut biome it's a variety in the gut biome says that as well. We've got our second test come through, so we'll actually have our second test to compare to our first one. And when it says our mission, we did Women Will Live in level 1 and 2, and our mission in that is to facilitate others in living their full unique potential, leading by example. Because of my childhood experiences, which caused me to feel inadequate deep within, without understanding why, brackets, and at the time I wouldn't have been aware of this was the emotion I was feeling, brackets. I reflected on my looks and weight, thinking this is what was important. This would be up and down depending on how I felt, comfort eating when I was low, depressed. To gain more confidence and not be so tough on myself, and to look for happiness within, I travelled for 5 years at the age of 22. 22nd of August is the Aquarius full moon. Yeah, it's all the numbers. We've understood our language better from numbers. And we also were, dysmorphic, body dysmorphia as well. Seeing and experiencing different countries and cultures was eye-opening. Settling in another country for a few years allowed me to realise that I could live and work anywhere. It took me to move out of Cornwall to the other side of the world to gain the confidence and understand this. Allowing new connections and bonding relationships with new people gave me strength and self-love. Facing all kinds of challenges and my want for more self-awareness allowed me to see how I would deal with different situations. Some of the best adventures and experience I've had were in these 5 years. Yeah, they were the best times of my life. We love ourselves in the Southern Hemisphere and in the Northern, because people out there love us. And we did so many things on our own that showed us how amazing we were. But yet here on the Northern Hemisphere, we feel so misunderstood and so excluded and so unaccepted the more we become us. And of course, we're on our home turf where all the shit happened. But we were never running away, and we always came back to prove we were never running away, even though we found happiness. That's how much. See, most people keep themselves in comfort, run away from the triggers and what hurts them, and we're so far the opposite. Some of my experiences so far: trekking intense jungles for days at a time, where if something happened, you had to continue until you were out the other side before any thought of rescue. Bungee jumps of 134 metres because I was scared of heights and wanted to face my fears. Living in a van and the more basic life, being in and at one with nature. Diving, my PADI and advanced PADI certificate. Helping in orphanages, this is definitely more of what I want to do. Partying and detoxing. Surfing, snowboarding, wakeboarding, downhill mountain biking, hiking. Converting a caravan and then a 3.5 tonne Box Luton Sprinter. Being self-sufficient. All of this helped, but still those deep feelings would return. I had to learn how to integrate my mind and body into everyday life. Fight away these deep negative thoughts so the next path on my journey began. I always felt like my head and heart were separated. I knew how I should feel and be, but no matter how much my head knew it, my heart would always tell me a different pained story. I grew tired of the same repeating cycle, and this led me to seeing a hypnotherapist in October 2010. Yeah, there's emotional attachment still on that one, of the way he reacted to a certain thing. Despicable. One thing I will always remember in the first session is when he said, our conscious mind is around 10% of us and our subconscious 90%. And it clicked. That's why my head and heart are separate. Conscious equals head and subconscious equals heart. This was the beginning of the end of a group of unhealthy behaviours. I've since read up on, experienced, trained in, and I'm currently training. Cranial sacral therapy, shiatsu, kinesiology, nerve touch Thai massage, Reiki, diet, nutrition, food for your brain and ailments, exercise, outdoors, Iyengar yoga, nature, self-development workshops in many different areas, Women Within through Transitions Europe. I sincerely from the bottom of my heart recommend this to anyone and everyone. If you're a man, then the warrior training through the Mankind Project is for you. So, it's all about a lifestyle change which incorporates the mind, body and spirit. So we have to make sure our body is at its optimal health to support the journey. My discoveries: get enough exercise, get enough sleep, reduce stress, drink plenty of water, reduce sugar content in the diet. Cancer cells feed on sugar. We can use natural alternatives like honey and make pure, organic, unfiltered, unpasteurised honey. Legal photo disclaimer, original disclaimer for this community. This page does not own all the art and images that are posted here. If we know the artist's name, the art, blah, blah, blah. It's an old telephone number. And then there's more videos on the side there. So I suppose you can witness us claiming ownership. We're not going to report it, we're going to claim ownership. Log in. Shinto South Parent, log in to your account to add a new listing, claim and edit your listing, remove your listing from the site. Did we do this then? I don't know, but we're not going to do that. Anyway, yeah, so there we go. You've just witnessed a live process of more connections and stuff. It's a long one. It's been on an emotional journey. I hope you've joined in as well. As always, meditation, and we'll have cleared stuff in your field too, as we were clearing stuff in our field. Trust in the unknown. Namaste. So much appreciation and joining us in this unexpected Shintosai journey. The Shinto yoga experience with Shinto self-empowerment. I'm Sanoni Snowflake Purcell. Much love. Hope you're enjoying more than you're not the journey of this live mystery unfolding. We are. We're really looking forward. No, we are. We're here. We're who we're meant to be. We already are. It's just all got to continue unfolding naturally and organically, which because that's how the energies work. Okay. When one zooms out enough and looks at the bigger picture, they can see the patterns. It's all about the patterns and the frequencies.